Hi, Melanie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I feel like I know you from the movie.
Although I kept thinking about that, of just like, wow, people have seen my face.
Hi, Gabriele.
Gabe.
You are?
There you are.
Okay.
We have Melanie.
There you go. I hear you
And
guys.
John is just joining us. My goodness, everybody's very punctual.
Hi, Maral.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
So let's see. It's good afternoon and good evening, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's from? Okay, let's start actually. Let's start the thing. Let's start by each one of you introducing yourself, where you're from, and let's talk a little bit about the film.
Okay.
You want to start, Gabriele?
I do. I don't know why my name is Alessandra, but yeah. So my real name is Gabriele Fabbro, and I'm the director of QUO VADIS 2020. I'm from Italy.
Oh, I'll go next. My name is Melanie Wick. I'm the DP of the movie. I'm from California and I'm based in Los Angeles.
And I'm Sean. I'm from Canada, and I'm the music composer for QUO VADIS.
Well, I love the music of your film, so I am so excited to welcome you to ARPA International Film Festival. We're so excited that we're going to be screening your film. As you all know, this is Gabriele's third consecutive year with the ARPA family. So I just watched the film again today, and it's just, I don't know, every time I see that film, I see something new, something different. So we're going to be talking today about QUO VADIS 2020. And this is going to be an informal discussion, so do not worry, let's just talk about what you guys went through to make this film. So we'll start with just, it's like, what inspired you to do this film, Gabriele?
What inspired the film? I mean, it all started, as Melanie well knows, with an idea for a short that we're planning to shoot in Italy right after graduation. And a lot of stuff happened, so we didn't end up shooting that one. And we thought, okay, can we do something else while we're in Italy? And I remember one day I was like, okay, we're all in Italy for like, 15 days? Let's try to film a documentary. That was my first time, and I proposed the project, and we started. So that was like kind of the genesis. As far as like, it's really strange, because what actually inspired me, like, as a filmmaker, like especially in the editing, was a Fellini film called Roma, which was a lot like situational based, and it tricked you in like a way of like presenting it to you as a documentary, but it was a lot of like technique and like, POV, like there was a clear like point being told throughout the story, even if it was just situations, real life situations.
Yeah, I was looking at the QUO VADIS, it's like, I guess, where are you going in 2020? It's what a timely title, what a timely subject, or what we're going through. I'm sure a year from now, we're going to look back and say, oh my goodness, what a year 2020 was, huh? And then, I didn't realize that 1951, when they made the movie, MGM made it. It was a big success. They had a $21 million box office, for 1951. That's the year I was born, so I just that was a lot of money. But then that wasn't the only time. I guess in 1913 there was the Italian the movie made in Italy also. So anyway, so this is going to be, the title is very catchy in any case, especially with, what is the biggest challenge that you guys had while you were making this film?
There's so, I don't know. I think because, like Gabe said, there was a different plan and then it switched to a bigger plan almost. I just jumped on board and I would follow Gabe wherever in Italy, and having to find people who wanted to tell their story and just give their side of what it felt like to grow up in Italy, the culture in Italy, the next generation of Italy was so interesting. And I was just prepared to record everyone's story and just listen as Gabe would tell me later what they were going through. It was incredible, I thought.
It felt like everyone that you talked to, they were all talking from the heart, you know. It's like, it was, you just people, you know, it's like people were just opening up and just saying it the way it is, you know, right?
Yeah, it was so funny. Even if, like, the tourists that were from Ireland and everyone, it didn't matter if you were Italian or somewhere visiting this interesting and cultivative country. I don't think it was really a challenge. It was more of just like, how many people can we talk to and how much time do we have and where should we go next, really?
Tell me a little bit about that happiness. It's like, it's the first chapter, you know, where it's like happiness is such a relative thing. But in your film, you describe it so beautifully. Every one of you, I want you all to tell me a little bit about what happiness is for you and what did you learn from making this film?
I guess for me, what I learned in this film really was that, like, it's easy to project happiness onto a situation as a spectator, if that makes sense. It sounds kind of abstract, but I think, you know, like, looking at maybe, like, you know, I mean, I've been a tourist in Italy, and it's easy for me to look around and just be like, wow, I mean, this is like the easiest place in the world to live in. It's beautiful, you know, the food is great. But hearing all these people speak their mind about, you know, the socio-political issues they had and how they found happiness too, I think it really speaks to, you know, how, I don't know, there's so much buried under every environment. And for me, it was just kind of shocking in a way to have that crumble in front of my eyes, this like vacation destination to me that I thought was just kind of ideal in so many ways, become, you know, a reality, like how I can criticize my hometown. So that was kind of like a happiness realization that I had watching it.
And if I can add to that, to me it was actually like, it's funny because I actually put in the film a question that I'm putting to myself, and I think that we all did put to ourselves at some point of our lives, especially maybe, you know, while shooting in Italy, is that, you know, we're all filmmakers and we have like big dreams of being successful. You know, we want to be in this place because we think that in this place we'll find our happiness. But then, you know, like the point is that these filmmakers travel to Italy and you see the other phase where like people are actually content with what they have, and maybe happiness has to be looked in simple things, you know, or just being with the people that really care for you, you know. So you see these two paths to achieve this different kind of happiness. Personally, I still didn't have like choose the which one to follow. I feel like I'm still in the middle, and I think the film also stays that way. But it was just like interesting to me to put it in the film, this question, you know, what is the correct way to achieve happiness?
I found it really beautiful that it never really answered it. You know, at the end, it shows like both directions as valid and kind of like very much a personal decision to make.
Yeah, I think because we kept it so, because happiness is so abstract in general, so everyone's version or fantasy of what happiness needs to be, you'll hear so many different answers, which I think we achieved when asking everyone and bringing it up. So I don't think you ever get the exact same answer every time, but it all surrounds happiness with the answer that they are talking about. It could be a cup of coffee, it could be going to a destination like Italy where something is so dreamlike and you feel happy in that moment, and then it's still something that you need to achieve. Where I guess to answer the question in my terms, I've always romanticized Italy. That was the second time I've gone, and being with friends made it even more magical. But just meeting people along the way, you see how happiness can be created so instantly. And just when we're talking with people and sharing stories, I think everyone can agree that a story can create happiness as well. And I think that's what the movie ultimately did, is sort of show these little things accumulate into a giant story of everyone is on this one earth figuring it out, basically.
When Sean was talking about, it's a good place to travel, I remember that one gentleman that said, it's not a place to work, not to live, just vacation in Italy.
Yep.
It's like, and you ask anyone, where do they want to go? The first thing, they're either going to say France or Italy. It's like, I know, I've been there several times. I have family who live in Firenze. And so, for me, it's, it's a magical place. Yes.
Yeah.
Alejandra. Gabriele. So anyway, watching this film, it takes you to Italy at a time when you can't get in a plane safely to go there, right? So I think this is something I'm going to tell my friends to go see Italy one more time through QUO VADIS 2020. How do you pronounce it exactly, Gabriele?
Exactly as you said, QUO VADIS 2020. It's a Latin word. So.
What else you guys want to say about the film?
Oh, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. I would do it again. That's basically it. So it's exciting to see people watch the film and know that what we did was so spur of the moment, yet it felt like everything was meant to be in a way. And you could never replicate that in a million years, I don't think.
What did you learn in making this film?
Well, for me, I mean, of course, I learned a lot about the socio-political situation in Italy and a lot of personal philosophies, which is kind of what I was saying, what I was going to say, which I thought was really cool. I think part of that spur of the moment attitude that you got from the film was really getting like genuine opinions from just everyday people, and really seeing the connection or disconnection of their philosophies. Basically what Gabriele was saying, the different paths. But for me personally, it was also a musical journey, of course, as well. And I mean, that was really incredible for me as a composer. I went to places I would never have thought to go. And I'm like really glad I had the opportunity. I mean, like Gabriele gave me this amazing playlist right at the beginning of Italian folk music and some heavy classical and jazz, like orchestral jazz, stuff that I had never written before. So I mean, like a big learning experience for me, and like one of the best things for me in this was being able to grow and just learn how to do things I never would have done before.
Yeah, in my case, it was for sure I would do it, as Melanie said, like again and over. Mainly to be like with friends, because this film has been made with friends, and just going around with places has been tremendously interesting, and just like for once not try to direct and like not being like so control, like you don't have control about like the performance, you know, you don't have to tell exactly what to do to everyone, you know. And it's sort of like an experiment, you know, you have this feel of like, I'm always trying to catch something new, and you can loosen up, you know, like you can make mistakes, you know, that's what we're all here for, you know. But by doing that, I learned that even if I do like a narrative film, for example, maybe sometimes you don't always have to like, you know, give specific directions to an actor, for example, or to the camera, you know. Sometimes, you know, like it's more effective to just ask questions to the people that you have in front and get answers from them, you know. And that's something that really, like, I think can improve performances a lot. And I'm definitely like keeping in my toolkit for the next project.
Did it feel kind of like out of control and unpredictable because it wasn't so thoroughly planned?
It's weird. Maybe it
Yeah.
was luck. And Melanie, like she knows. It's sort of like everything folding into. It's so strange. We made an outline and we knew that like, okay, we need to prove that Italy is in this like decadent mood, you know. So let's try to find people that could describe that, you know. And we found those people, but just naturally, like sometimes really just walking to a bar and asking the questions that
Yeah.
we thought would provoke a certain thing into the person, and we got that, you know. So it really kind of all fell into the place.
Wow.
Maybe for luck, but yeah, it felt like that.
Yeah, it felt like people knew what was going on and they want to say something. So when we gave them that opportunity, they took it immediately. At first, they were kind of just weird about it, just seeing like random, freshly new, off the boat filmmakers with a camera and being like, "Can we film you? We have these questions, and we just want to, you know, show Italy in this like sort of new way, in a sense of what people know about it, but sort of breaking those barriers." Like you learned, Sean, the culture, the socioeconomic way things have been going, and all those things that people are trying to say, but you know, not everyone gets the chance in like a small village with a couple hundred people. And I feel like I learned in a cinematographer way of paying attention to everything, like every little detail, what would capture this like mood and feeling that Italy's already showing us, but no one's really paying attention to because we're on our phones, we're working so fast, and it just felt like a good time to slow down and see what, you know, an old couple is doing. We followed someone. We like followed them. They didn't notice us because we were just trying to keep it so natural and just, you know, capture what was happening day to day. And they were just walking and enjoying the scenery and being in a place that was probably new to them as it was to me, at least. Gabe has grown up here, so maybe even he saw things that he didn't realize before because we were starting to pay attention and capturing those little things of architecture, food, people, all in every way.
Yeah, there were a lot of angles that like I wouldn't have been exposed to otherwise. Like as you said, like voices that wouldn't have been heard otherwise, especially, you know, in those small towns who don't have a lot of like you know, they don't have like an international megaphone for someone like me to be able to hear what they're thinking. But also, yeah, like all those other angles of just how people are living on a daily basis. That was a really cool experience for me as like a viewer.
Yeah, I like the way you used sound in the film, especially in the beginning where you have the bells, you know, the church bells ringing, and then every time, you know, people were just you know, just going, "Wow, what's going on?" You know, that's too loud. And then all of a sudden you go into this little town where everything is quiet, and you know, one of you said, "All I want is a little bookstore and live on this next to the sea for the rest of my life, and that would be happiness for me." You know, it was like going through the thing. And then also the fact that one gentleman said, everything is better when you have some music in the background. So
Yeah.
I think Sean,
I
you deserve a
agree.
lot of credit for what you've done for this film. I think you did a wonderful job.
Thank you. That means a lot. This really came from the heart, and I think so much of it has to do with, Melanie and Gabe's inspiring work. I mean, when I was just starting to make sketches, Gabe sent me a big PDF booklet of stills of like different shots.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was thorough, and there were notes underneath each frame about what kind of music might be going on there, what's happening in the scene. And it was really moving to me. Like before, I hadn't seen the film yet, but that was what I had to work on to start. And it was just staring at these gorgeous stills and imagining what the sounds would be like. So, I mean, it was, in that sense, it was like kind of easy to know what I should feel, because I was already kind of like feeling it just from like that experience. And then I just had to kind of translate it.
Yeah, it has been like a really creative process on both like the cinematography and especially like one of the, if there is one thing that I really want to change like with films, would be the relationship that they have with music. So like, I'm a strong believer of like the Sergio Leone way. Like, write the script, read the score, then you don't shoot and then read the score. And just with Sean, I think there's this nature of like collaboration where it's a lot of like exchanging of ideas and a lot of talking about like memories. And I think we're both like trying to like achieve the same thing and trying to like really glorifying music through the movies.
We have one person joining us.
Yeah, Ydalie, where is she?
Yeah.
I didn't see it until now. I hope it wasn't too long ago.
Oh, here we go. Hello, Ydalie.
Hi. Ydalie, welcome.
Okay, we'll give a chance to Ydalie to tell us a little bit about herself, about your name and where you're from, and your role in the film.
My name is Ydalie Turk. I am from Johannesburg, South Africa, and I played myself, Ydalie. A recent graduate who went to Italy with her friends to try and find herself, I suppose, or find out what she was meant to be doing with her life.
Yeah, we've been talking about your wonderful film, how honest you guys were, how your reactions to everything. It seemed like you were really going deep down and talking about all your feelings and what you were seeing, and you did an excellent job of depicting the life in Italy today. So
thank you.
One of the things I was going to also ask you, at what point in your life you realized that this really is not a hobby, that you actually want to go into film?
Who's answering first?
Come on, Ydalie.
I mean, film maybe when I was in high school, but I always wanted to be an actor since as far back as I can remember. Since about the age of 10, I think I knew for sure. And then when I got into high school, I became really interested in film and watching movies, and I think I developed more of a sense of film, and that's when it kind of drifted into film. Although I still love theater very much, but that's when I became interested in being in movies.
Middle school is when I started to say that I wanted to be a director. But since the beginning, I've been just drawing movies, like frame by frame. I was just obsessed about like Disney, like the 90s classic. Mm-hmm. I draw like probably all the 90s classics, and that got me into like just this great obsession of films that developed into even greater obsession until now. I just love them. I can't live without. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean, you grow up watching all these movies and Disney becomes a part of your life, but I guess I decided in high school as well, learning that you could be creative and get paid and, do all this incredible work, and that's your job. So I was so excited because I would watch movies and my mother is just like, you're watching too many movies, like you should, study for your exam or something. And then I was just like, okay. And then she's just like, it's not like you're going to work on movies. I'm just like, can I? Is that an option?
For me, I knew I always wanted to be a composer, for sure. I mean, I was playing music since I was like 5, and I always loved writing music, and I always loved film music as well. And it actually took me a while to put those two things together and realize that was kind of like where I was heading towards. But after my undergrad, I realized that probably the best way for me to have my music heard and to be able to do what I really love is to be able to marry my sounds to great visuals, which is always kind of what drew me to music and film to begin with.
Tell me a little bit about that scene when you guys were in Venice and people were still sitting in a restaurant and having dinner, lunch, whatever it was. And then, it was just water everywhere. How difficult was that?
Gabe.
I take on to this. So we actually got that, and that's an extra luck, but that was actually one of the worst floods that Venice ever had. And it's not the one that happened last year that was even worse. And this is really dangerous because 2 of the worst floods just happened in 2 consecutive years. So because of course the climate change. But that's Venice, every time that it comes to fall, the water rises and people, they kind of train to live like that. It's just that sometimes the floods is too much and it gets into the houses, like the cases that you saw in the documentary. And that's a huge, huge problem that it's related to a lot of politics because they actually have a barrier underneath the water to just block and prevent these floods to happen. And they spend so many money to just complete the work. And yet to this day, and this has been happening since the 80s, something like that, till this day is not complete, and people are just sick of it, I remember that there was one girl complaining in the documentary about the Mose, which is this barrier. And people are just used to live like that, but it's just a pain because, you lose all, think about the stores, you lose half of the stores underwater. So you need to pay the damage by yourself. And of course, people are not happy about it, but they sort of take it in. Now, I really hope that with the documentary, more people see it and either they complete these barriers or they think about other ways to prevent Venice to complete flood because, it's, again, 2018 and 2019 has been the worst floods in falls. And the one that just happened last year was even worse than the one that you see in the documentary. The water was, I think at the stomach, you couldn't.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really, really bad, and it actually damaged the boats, the ferry boats, and Venice got it was not manageable to just walk around Venice for the whole winter because of that. So I hope that people, after they see the documentary, they go do the research and either they make some donation to help this situation because it's just, it is a fact, someone needs to think about this because if the climate changes just keeps on going, Venice for sure is gonna disappear and probably sooner than we think.
Tell me about the location from each one of you. What was the best scene in the film, and also what was the best location that for you among all the things you filmed? I know you went all over Italy.
Just go, guys.
Borgio Verezzi.
There you go.
That place. That was such a gem, and it was incredible to find that small village, and it did not feel real. When I arrived, I was like, this is a painting, this is fake, this doesn't exist, like to still capture that natural beauty, I thought was incredible. And just I am speechless. Speechless just talking about it.
Okay, that's where I'm going next. That's on my
Yeah,
bucket list now.
please do.
Yep, and yeah.
Location-wise, Varese is one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is just, I mean, it seems to stand still in time. It hasn't caught up with the rest of the world. And then scenically, it's like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Just the ocean is right there, this beautiful mountain. We stayed at a little like lodge bed and breakfast at the top of a mountain that we had to walk up to every single day. We also had to walk from the train station after 2 of us got left behind in the train. And I mean, this wasn't captured on film, but it felt very filmic. It was just like 6 of us backpacks walking across a highway and the ocean on this side and making our way up a mountain to get to this Airbnb. It was insane, but so beautiful. My favorite scenes, though, I really love the scene at Gabe's grandmother's house. When we're just eating, because for one, the food was such a huge part of the trip, but it also felt the most communal and the most at home. And I don't know, the trip was so busy. Every day we were doing something, but it was this moment of like, I think even in the film, there's no dialogue, and you can just kind of hear the plates scratching and everyone just sitting for a moment at one point, taking everything in. And I really, really love that scene.
Yeah, what you guys named was just so amazing to watch. I can't even imagine what it was like to be there. Well, another scene that really moved me and was really beautiful was when I don't know where it was, but Marcelo was walking around and talking about his belief in humbleness, and it was a voiceover, I think, and he was. It was during his interview, but then the camera was also, I think, behind him as he was walking around this area. And I just thought that was like put together so beautifully, the content of what he was saying, finding like these gems in your everyday life, and, his loyalty to the place that he was born. And I felt like that scene was so spiritual and so beautiful. And there was that aspect of it, and then just where he was. I don't know what the location was, but it was really gorgeous. And to me, like all of that coming together really spoke to me as a great moment.
Thank you. The last question I want to ask is, it was kind of interesting for me. I know, Gabriele, you used some of your family members in the documentary, right? Your mom was in there. I recognized her. And then there was a lady at the end where she put makeup on before she went to bed, that scene. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, that's my grandmother.
Grandma, okay.
Yeah, the one with the red hair. She's a star. Like no matter what, like just
that was one of my favorite scenes. I mean, it was like, you just have to give her a hug when you go, when and tell her that Maral loved your portion in the documentary. I'm
telling you, like, she's the star of the film. Like everyone just like she just needs to work on the red carpet. We just send her and that's it, like. But I'll definitely tell her that she will be so happy. Yeah, like one of her dreams was actually to like be an actress. So I felt like, okay, let's try, So we went around and filmed that last scene. It's actually, I don't know, I have like, it's okay. Let's just leave it to the mystery.
Okay, all right. Now we want everybody to go see the film. This is going to be part of when we screen your film, this Q&A will be part of it. And then we may also use little portions of this to let people know about your film. And I think everyone should see this film. I'm hopeful that I'm not hopeful. I'm sure everyone who sees this film, they're going to take something out of it. Besides traveling through Italy, they will learn so much about our younger generation today, which is you are our future.